Hello and welcome to the Formal Review. Today we'll be talking about the 2021 film Shang-Chi, The Legend of the Ten Rings. So let's sit back, relax, grab your drinks, and let's talk about this movie.
What's up, y'all, and welcome back to the Formal Review. This is Season 4, Episode 15, and thank you all for tuning in once again. So this new episode, I know it's been a while since I've had one, but I've been really busy with some things going on in my personal life, but I said I was going to get this one out, and here it is. So this will be an analysis on the newest film in the MCU, and then where it stands in the series' overall ranking. So stay tuned. Have you ever thought about starting your own podcast? When I was trying to get this podcast off the ground, I had a lot of questions. Like, how do I record an episode? How do I get my show into all the apps that people like to listen on? How do I make money from my podcast? The answer to every single one of those questions is really simple. Anchor. Anchor is a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing my podcast. And best of all, it's absolutely 100% free and ridiculously easy to use. And now Anchor can match you with some great sponsors. That means you can get paid to podcast right away. In fact, that's exactly what I'm doing right now. So if you've always wanted to start a podcast and make money doing it, go to anchor.fm/start to join me and the diverse community of podcasters already using Anchor. Again, that's anchor.fm/start. And I can't wait to hear your podcast. Now, before getting into anything, I do want to preface this episode with a warning about any mispronunciations. I am not fluent in any Chinese dialect, so I apologize if I mispronounce something right now. Also, I know I talk about this at the end, but the data shows that most people don't listen to that part, so I want to talk about it here and reiterate the importance of leaving reviews on your favorite subscription services. I do read those because I do want to grow, because these episodes are really for all you listeners out there, and I want to keep this entertaining. So what do you want to hear? Do you want to hear games? Do you want to hear more of the 4K stuff? Do you want to hear me talk about a certain movie? If you want to come on and talk to me about something, if you want to debate, I'm always open to do stuff like that. So you can always reach out to me on social media. I always want to grow and improve. And
just because something works doesn't mean that it cannot be improved.
So if there's something that you want me to improve on, let me know, and I will grow as such. Anyway, so let's get back to the movie at hand. So sit back, relax, grab your drinks, and let's talk about this movie. So Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings is a superhero film based on the Marvel Comics character of the same name. It is the 25th film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, also known as the MCU, and it is directed by Destin Daniel Cretton from a screenplay that he wrote with Dave Callahan and Andrew Lantham. It stars Simu Liu as the title character, alongside Awkwafina, Meng Zhang, Fa Le Shen, Benedict Wong, Michelle Yeoh, Ben Kingsley, and Tony Leung. In the film, Shang-Chi is forced to confront his past after he is drawn into his father's Ten Rings organization. This film is a fairly good, endearing, and very exciting origin story. The Marvel Cinematic Universe is now in Phase 4 and has been going on for 13 years and counting. And we've had many Marvel MCU films that have starred white men, and more specifically white men named Chris, than it really has had superheroes of color, or women for that matter. And it's a fun MCU take on a martial-infused fantasy grounded in Asian, but specifically Chinese and Asian American culture, that honestly keeps it separate from the overall large franchise. Even the little bits here and there, they don't really change much in the plot, and that's one of the biggest things when it comes to some of these solo films. It doesn't feel like just a continuation of the overall universe. It's more of the individual story that is going on that also happens to be part of it. But that overarching theme of the movie doesn't need the rest of the MCU to be a good movie. And at its core, this is a film that has a story about love and grief, and really figuring out who you are and who we're meant to be, and which are very, very strong themes, especially in the current day and age. And this film really manages those themes very well, while also giving some really spectacular fight choreography and potentially the best of any MCU movie. And the best parts of the film, though, are when it's able to step outside of this overarching franchise narrative and gives this more individuality and personality. Part of this is obviously due to the entire cast here. They're all actors of East Asian descent in Marvel's first East Asian ensemble superhero movie, and this really does show what a Asian superhero really does look like. And this is also due to the really good script, which is also written by a man who comes from Asian descent as well, in Daniel Cretton, and it displays a story of family dysfunction and really also shows the comedy of a cross-generational and cross-cultural conflict. The biggest star of this film, even though I will say shout out to Michelle Yeoh, who I really love in this film, but the biggest star is Tony Leung as Shang-Chi's estranged father, Yu Wen-woo. And he's arguably one of the most memorable Marvel villains. Now, for those who have some interest in other films of his, I'd recommend the film Hero. It is frankly a beautiful and compelling martial arts masterpiece with an extremely powerful message. Now, in this film, he excellently plays an assassin who debates whether violence or unification is better, and it's frankly just an utter fantastic film. And one thing that the film does amazingly well is use color to tell a story, which Shang-Chi does as well. But more on that in a little bit. Now, that is the complete spoiler-free analysis of this review. I will say go see it, and then it's good. Alright, moving on to the spoiler section. And again, this next part will potentially ruin the movie for you, but so definitely go see the movie before you continue listening. But if you don't care, go ahead and keep listening. Now, going back to the discussion of narration through color. Looking at the beginning of the film, when you see the Shang-Chi's parents first crossing paths. Now, this scene sets the stage for the biggest theme of the film, balance, which is a very common theme in a lot of ancient Chinese philosophies, specifically the yin and yang, which is about complementing forces, balancing one another out in really all aspects of life.